friends, in 20 years of coaching, well, nearly 20 years, not quite, but in nearly 20 years of coaching, I have found a huge variety of different tastes. For example, I can have a woman sitting in my office and telling me that she just can't seem to give up chocolate cake. And then literally the next hour, I can have another woman saying, I can't stand chocolate cake. I like more of the fatty, salty. You see, we all have different tastes. We all have different ways of connecting with food. But what food scientists have found almost universally is that there is a specific bliss point. And again, just to remind you, I'm just reading out of The End of Overeating by Dr. David Kessler. And basically what the bliss point is, it's the point at which we get the greatest amount of pleasure from a food, okay? And typically he talks about, and I'm pulling from 3 chapters and condensing it in 5 minutes for you. He talks about 3 powerful ways to do that: sugar, fat, and salt, okay? Now in the previous video, we talked about how sugar and fat are kind of like your combo, but the bliss point has this salt added to it. And the way that we manipulate sugar, fat, and salt, all which most likely are processed, will determine how we are interacting with that food. If that bliss point, if you will, is lighting us up, is making us feel very good, giving us that endorphin rush, making us want to have more. So scientists are in their labs literally saying, okay, well, if we put the salt here, if we take the carbohydrate here, what is it going to do? How is it going to affect us, etc. So it's interesting because if you look at, let me just have you think about your favorite food. Think of your favorite food right now. What is it about that food that really does it for you? What is it that, when you even think about it, lights you up? Well, I want to read what Dr. Kessler says real quick about bliss point. He said, many of us have what is called a bliss point. Now remember, it's different for everybody. The point at which we get the greatest pleasure from sugar, fat, or salt. Scientists depict this as an inverted U-shaped curve. As more sugar is added, food becomes more pleasurable until we reach the bliss point at the top of that curve, and then the pleasure experience drops off. For sweet beverages, that point is about 10%. Drinks containing more sucrose or sugar than that generally taste too sweet, and we enjoy them less. He also goes on to talk about the 3 points of the compass. The 3 points of the compass: sugar, fat, and salt, make foods compelling, said the consultant. They make it indulgent. They make it high in hedonistic value, which gives us pleasure. Well, it's interesting because if we think about this bliss point, this goes back to the same video to the last time video where we talked about hyperpalatable foods. Now let's wrap this into how can we make this applicable for everyday life. And I think that it's the same as the last video, to be quite honest with you. We have to be very aware that having a food that has been scientifically engineered is always going to pull us in that same direction. It's going to be hard to really get out of that trap, that snare, when we're used to having foods that get us addicted physiologically. One of the best things that you can do is simply make the commitment that you're going to start to clear out your environment. Make sure that you take away these foods that are high on the bliss point and this food compass, as it were, and make sure that you are simplifying your diet. Remember, having an orange is much more simple than having this orange meringue pie or cake that's multi-leveled with a bliss point that has processed sugar, processed fat in the form of like Crisco, that's got processed salt in there, right at the exact point. If we simplify our foods, if we simplify what we're eating and not feel like we have to have all of these different flavors bombarding. Now, every once in a while we can experience those and be fine, but not making them a constant staple in our diet, then we can get back to the basics. Then we can start to understand that we are designed to eat food simplistically. Okay, so that is the message for today. We're going to move on to another topic. We're going to kind of get into the business. We're literally halfway through that book, and I think this is like video number 6. So I hope these short videos are helping you understand a very complex topic of sugar and food addiction. Please comment. I would love to hear if you have any questions, or if you want me to comment or post anything that you've been thinking about. Please let me know. You guys are great. Remember to never excuse away that inner greatness, and always remember life is good. And we'll see you in the next video. Take care.